What's up, guys? Jar here, back with another video. And basically, in this video, I'll be teaching you guys how to brainwash people into buying your brand. You feel me? This is my brand, Angelic, right here, as you can see. And let's get straight into the value. So really, there's only one goal when it comes to brainwashing people into buying your products, into buying into your brand and your story. And that is really the idea of being omnipresent, right? So basically, let's break this down, right? You kind of break this down into two buckets. We're going to talk about the first bucket here. Scratch that out. We're going to talk about the first bucket here, which is basically the idea of omni-channel marketing. So this is something that I practice with my brand Angelic. And essentially what we are doing is maximizing brand awareness and touch points across different distribution channels. So I actually attended a Growth Summit, direct-to-consumer growth summit last week, and basically this is one of the slides, and essentially they talked about kind of the distribution playbook and strategy for brands, and this is kind of an example of how this looks like and how this plays out. So number one is your top of funnel awareness, right? This is where you're driving net new customers and net new attention, and primarily brands that are exploding right now are doing this primarily off of TikTok shops, right? And they're funneling that attention and that content into then meta ads, right? And then from there, meta ads, right? Then they're getting onto their own media and channels, which is their brand website, and then move into other marketplaces such as Amazon for that repeat purchase, right? So this is kind of an example of how this looks like. I kind of show you an example of how this actually applies and looks like for my brand at the moment. So I'm currently running ads on Meta, TikTok, Google, Snapchat, and Shop ads. And essentially, right, what this does is create different touch points in the user journey, right, when they see my brand. So let's say one brand, right, one streetwear brand is trying to sell and they're trying to compete against my brand, let's say, right? And let's say the consumer sees streetwear brand A, which is me, Angelic, and they see streetwear brand B, which is the competitor brand, right? And let's say they see us both on Instagram, right? And let's say they hop on TikTok, right, and they see Angelic on TikTok. They don't see the other brand. Let's say they go on YouTube, right, to watch the video, watch their favorite content creator or what have it, and they see me on there. And let's say they go to their email, right, and I'm on their email as well, with Google Ads or even just sending out regular emails. And let's say they go on Snapchat to Snapchat their friends, right, to snap their friends, and I'm on there as well. And let's say they go on the shop app because they're ready to buy, or they're just checking out some things, window shopping, what have it. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touch points as compared to the other brand's one touch point. And really what this does, it really reinforces, that consumer sentiment in terms of, okay, now I'm ready to buy. Now when I'm in market, what brand am I going to buy from? And really when it comes to brand recall, they're really going to remember my brand. And the beauty about this is that it doesn't take a significant budget on all of these platforms to really have this effect. Like you can have a very small minimal budget on these platforms, especially like Google, where it's not really driving that much incremental lift, or even Snapchat per se, right? But you can still have that same ubiquitous channel presence. So really that's what it comes down to. It's just really having that distribution channel and strategy, and then just really tying that to your product. So this is an example that I shared in one of my last videos in the idea of product and distribution. So really when you're going from 0 to 1, and really when you're looking at the inception of your brand, you really want to identify your key product offering and then how you plan to distribute that, because inherently your product influences your ability to distribute that product, right? So basically I broke down 3 examples here, right? So this is a brand on TikTok, Echo Vision Beaters. As you can see, they're selling wife beaters for $9.99, right? Now that can work on TikTok shops, and it has proven to work on TikTok shops with them selling millions of units, driving tens of millions of dollars in top line sales. But a product like this will never work on Meta without them, boosting their AOV or with bundling and things of that nature, just off the fact that the allowable CAC wouldn't be reasonable relative to this AOV at the moment, right? Now, a brand like my brand, this could work on meta ads, right? So I can work on meta ads because I can, make that work through upsells and things of that nature, with the $58 MSRP on just a single SKU. And this wouldn't really necessarily work on TikTok Shop in the sense that people on TikTok Shop are expecting, a tank top to cost $20, $15, kind of that sheen aspect side of things. And then this is Louis Vuitton, $3,500. This would not work for direct response advertising on Meta, nor would it work on TikTok shops. So really, that's why they're big into retail. And yeah, that's kind of like the different ideas and different distribution strategies when it comes to your product as a whole. But really backpedaling and piggybacking off of the idea of omni-channel, right? It's very important that we find a balance. So this is a screenshot of 2 weeks of data for my brand. Just breaking it down day by day. And as you can see here, I collapsed some of the columns so we can compare the different channels. And as you can see here, our biggest spending channels are on Facebook and TikTok, right? And then Google and Snapchat are coming in, on that latter end of things, with Snapchat being the least amount of spend. And as you can see through this spreadsheet, we can see that we're not necessarily diversifying our spend on a equivalent basis across all our channels. We're more so focusing on the actual channels and buckets that actually drive the most performance. And we're really utilizing that 80-20 principle in which what 20% of channels are driving 80% of the results. And for my case, that is Facebook and TikTok, right? So that's where I'm really pouring a lot of effort into the creator strategy, into the actual, paid social funnel optimizations when it comes on that side of things, right? And even Google recently, I pulled back spend on Google because I found it wasn't as incremental as it was reporting, right? Because it's doing a lot of branded search and things of that nature, just capturing brand demand. So yeah, basically, we want to consolidate efforts on our primary channels driving performance, and this basically leads us to our next method of brainwashing, which is essentially the idea of getting social proof. So once you get all these, touch points and brand awareness, now it comes down to the fact, can they trust your brand, right? So there's really some ways that we can manufacture this and manufacture virality. And this is a recent book that I actually read, which is called Contagious by Jonah Berger. And essentially, my favorite quote from the book was "Monkey see, monkey do." And essentially, this is kind of like the female TikTok girl aesthetic, you know what I'm saying? And what are trending right now on TikTok, primarily for girls. So number one, we have, the Stanley Cup. Everyone knows about the Stanley Cup. Then we have the Dyson Airwrap. And then we have the Labubus. Right. So basically these are like what are trending in the market, and we're kind of like break down, what goes into, creating viral products like this so we can replicate it for you guys' brand. So number one, right? This is what it talks about in the book is social currency. So how does it make people look to talk about a product or idea? So essentially, does it make you look cool? Does it give you status? Things of that nature. So with this being a $600 product, right? If you have this, this is essentially the holy grail of hairstyling, right? If you have this, all the girls are going to be jealous. It's a showing off piece, it's a status symbol, and it's just a talking piece, right? So social currency. So you can actually like kind of think about how these elements play a part into each of these products and how you can manufacture and tie that into your product offering as well. So triggers. How do we remind people to talk about our products or ideas? So Stanley is a good example of this, right? Because this is a trigger. Every time you wish to drink water, right, you're going to be picking up your Stanley Cup, right? So if you're going to school, right, and you're lugging around this big Stanley Cup, then, that's a talking piece. This is a trigger, right? So it gives a lot of opportunities for your product to be talked about and be shared and ultimately boost overall brand awareness, right? Emotions. How can we craft the messages and ideas that make people feel something, right? So this kind of ties back into number one, or just any emotion in general, right? So this is just like status, but you can also think into emotions like, sadness, happiness, things of that nature, right? The boo-boo, this kind of crafts like a humorous, joyous emotion, right? That childlike emotion of just collecting and having that kind of like stuffed animal type vibe, and really having a collectible and kind of like a furry friend, I guess. Public, can people see when others are using our product or engaging in our desired behavior? Essentially, that's pretty straightforward with Stanley Cup, pretty straightforward. Practical value. How can we craft content that seems useful, right? So we can do that with the Dyson Airwrap, right? As you can see here, basically you can do the tutorials on how to style your hair, how to straighten your hair, the best blowout or the best hairstyles for women in 2026, things of that nature that are really organic to the platform. that will really crush on TikTok and Reels organically. And then number 6, the final element, what broader narrative can we wrap our idea in? And this is essentially just stories and our ability to create stories and storytelling as a whole. And yeah, I'll kind of break down like the different types of examples that apply to actual businesses so you guys can actually help visualize this some more. So for social currency, we can say an invite only beta app that users brag about accessing, right? So for example, if you guys remember the NFT wave, right? There was a actual project, it's a blue chip project called Bored Ape Yacht Club. Basically these little JPEGs were going for they were going for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Just for a picture. This is a bad example. Let me go to actual for a picture of this. I was into NFTs myself. I'm not gonna get into that, but basically, yeah, these were going for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and influencers would buy these right without having real knowledge on the actual NFT, but more so just off of social currency, factor, because it indicates status and that you have a lot of money and that you are part of this new trend, which is NFTs at the time, right? So you've seen a lot of influencers with these apes as their profile picture back when these were popping, right? Triggers, right? Protein bar position as the 3 p.m. slump fix. So if you have a protein bar position in that manner, right, when it comes 3 p.m., people are going to be thinking about your product. And, if they're feeling tired at 3 p.m., they're going to think about the protein bar. So that's a nice trigger that you can associate with your product. And these are just some like ideas that you can, piggyback off of to actually manufacture into your actual product offering. Emotions before and after fitness transformation video, right? You can just showcase a mom, let's say postpartum after pregnancy. She lost a lot of weight and how that transformed her life and make it really emotional, and then tie that to your product, things of that nature. Public, water bottle with a bold, recognizable design. This is essentially Stanley Cup right here. Practical value, skincare brand shares a 3-step acne routine. So if you were a brand like CeraVe or La Roche-Posay, you can do tutorial videos, or you can do informational educational videos from a dermatologist, right? And really make valuable content that is teaching people about skincare, but also selling your product at the same time. And then stories, you can do a gym offer around a 90-day hard transformation arc. So we all know about 90-day hard, and then Jim can basically build off that story and essentially build a product offering around that and have a program around that. And as you can see, these different elements, right, the more that you have that you can tie to your product, the more valuable and more viral your product is going to be, right? So if you can have even 3 of these keys things, right, you would really make waves in the market. But if you can find a way to manufacture 4 or 5 or even all 6 of these, then you can really start to sell and really take over organic social and paid social. But yeah, monkey see, monkey do. If you want to learn more on how to implement this for your brand and how I do it for my brand, then you can apply in the link down below for mentorship. I do have one more spot open at the time for March. But up until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.